Hello, hello, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here, and I'm going to talk about email list building and marketing for niche sites. I'll go over how to get people to sign up for your list and some of the pros and cons. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Usually it works, but it's live, so sometimes it doesn't work, and it's always good to double check. So hopefully in a second we'll be able to confirm that. Let me know where you're from. It is working. So let me know where you're from. That's always nice. And I can say hello. Let me know if it's your first time on the chat here. We have David on, one of our fine moderators. A lot of times Adrian is on as well. How this is going to work is I'll go over some of the material and, I'll answer questions. I'll answer a few questions. If you have questions, you only need to ask one time. So if you ask multiple times, we'll potentially, put you in timeout for a few minutes or kick you out. So don't be rude, everyone be nice. We have some nice folks in the chat there. Adrian is on, everybody sounds like they can hear me. My friend Matt Giovanisi from MoneyLab is on, and Wilco, everyone says audio is good. Very, very cool. So a couple quick things. Number one, we're talking about email marketing. Number one, because I like it a lot. Number two, and actually more importantly, I have an email marketing course that is open for enrollment. I just released it on Monday. Enrollment closes later on today. And it's just a very short window. This is a quick hitter course. Basically, it's a course where you can go through all the content in a few hours and start implementing immediately. You get all the content at once and it's priced accordingly for that sort of thing. I will be adding more material in the future. We'll kind of take a spin on the inside. There's a link in the description here. It's courses.nichesiteproject.com/email, and you'll be able to check out the details there. So if you are interested in getting started with email marketing, it's something I really enjoy, and I can go a little more in depth on that. We see Stephen from Canada, and you haven't attended in a while. Good to see you. Money Online, Simple, and Iqbal. Awesome. Cool. So we'll just kind of jump into it. And one thing I'm going to do as far as like getting people to sign up for your list, I'm going to look at some live sites out there. So, and these are sort of like the people that I follow. I'm curious what they're doing to capture emails these days, and I have a few things that I really like to do personally. In fact, if you're watching and you're here right now, there's a good chance you're on my email list and at some point you signed up. There's probably some piece of a tool or a piece of content that is a lead magnet that I offered to you to sign up for the email list, because everyone knows that you don't want to get more emails. In fact, it drives me crazy these days. I get a lot of emails that are important, but most of them aren't, but they take a second or two to go through. So with that in mind, knowing what your audience might be like, you should realize that they maybe don't want to get more and more emails. Now, I can tell you that the internet marketing space, where people are marketers like myself, like people that we're going to look at their websites and see how they're trying to attract opt-ins. That is what we call opt-ins, leads, subscribers. It's all sort of interchangeable. You have to offer something of value, because no one wants to just get emails. There's all these marketers sending emails trying to sell stuff. I'm guilty of that. Of course, I'm literally this video, we're talking about what's in the course. So the cool part is, if you're in a niche, sometimes people use it as an escape and they actually want to get that email. So I interviewed Carl Steinmeier, Homebrew Academy, a few weeks ago, and he has an email list of something like 20,000. He's making good money selling courses, promoting affiliate offers to his email list, and people want to get those emails. I can't remember the exact open rates that he was seeing and the click-through rates, but they were so much higher than anything that I've seen. So I was impressed, and I realized, if you're if you're in a hobby niche, people actually will open those emails, even if there's not a huge amount of substance, which I'm not on Carl's email list, but people want to get them. They'll get distracted. So as I mentioned, we'll hit questions at the end. So bear with me as we go through some of the material today. I'll start with the pros and cons. So off the bat, and actually I'll start with mistakes. So one of the big mistakes that people do when they're starting their first site, and potentially when they're purchasing a pre-built type site. So there's a lot of vendors out there, a lot of folks that I'm an affiliate for, they sell pre-made sites and they will add value. I don't love these sites, all right? I'm an affiliate because people want to buy them, but I'm not a big fan of those because a lot of times people will buy a pre-made site and they really don't know what to do. There is some value added by these vendors. They'll put an email opt-in form and it'll say something like, sign up for our email list, get our free ebook. They'll even provide the ebook, which often is just kind of shitty. It's not very good. And they hired a writer who is not an expert in the niche, and it's lower quality overall. You have this opt-in form and ebook that people really probably don't want, and the content is not very good. So your first impression is poor if you actually convince someone to sign up for the email list. The other part is we often feel stress when we're thinking about all the things that we have to do for a niche site, especially if you spent $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 on a pre-made site and you have your opt-in form and you're thinking, well, I know I'm supposed to do an autoresponder. Now I'm going to have to write 15 emails, and you get a little stressed out. You're thinking some number, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 30 emails because you heard someone say that. And then you don't write that first email. So literally it's kind of a stress point. You're not getting anything out of it and people are not signing up for it. Let's say you do have the motivation. You're weird like me and you have the motivation to write those 15 emails. You might spend a lot of time crafting those emails, pulling images, copywriting, all the things that you would need to do to write those autoresponder emails, when you probably should have spent your time elsewhere, because the fact is, on a new site, you're getting a very small amount of traffic. So you're spending all this time, no one's seeing it, no one cares. They're not signing up for your email list because they don't want an ebook, because no one's going to read a 50-page ebook. Very few people. Some people will. Very few people are going to actually sit down and read the ebook. Very few people are going to like watch a video course. Let's say you do a 5-part video series and it's an hour long. It's hard to get someone to sit down and focus for that long, especially if they don't have skin in the game. If they don't pay for that piece of material, they're probably not going to value it much. All that to say, the biggest mistake is working on an email list and trying to grow a list when you're not getting enough traffic. You're just not getting very many visitors, and you should be spending time adding more content, optimizing the content, improving the content, promoting the site in some fashion, whatever that may be. At the end of the day, you want to spend time on the things that people are going to see. And if you put it in that autoresponder early on, there's a good chance no one's going to see it for a long time. You'll feel like you wasted your time, which is pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And Matt says, what about a 20-minute video? It depends on the format of the content, what they're into, and there's exceptions to every rule. So you can find people that put out a 6-part video series and people devour it. You can put out a list. You could put out a list with 5 items on it and no one will read it. So it depends on the audience a lot and how engaging the video is. If the viewers, here's my hunch, right? So let's think about it. If the viewers are coming from YouTube and you can see your typical viewers are watching 6.5 minutes, there's a good chance that There's a good chance a lot of people are watching way less than that. They're watching like 2 minutes. So a 20-minute video, good luck. They're probably not going to watch it. However, the important people, and this is the weird thing with YouTube, the important people do watch the whole thing. In fact, there's a lot of folks that are going to be on today that are watching. You guys and gals stick around for the full live stream, or a lot of it anyway, and then you'll watch my vlog videos. You're into whatever content is out there and you're going to watch it. So the important people do watch the whole thing. So all that to say, the important people will probably watch the full 20-minute video. They're the most engaged. They're the people that you care about, and they're the people that you want to work with. So it's a bit self-selecting, and the people that are going to check out a 20-minute video are the people that would potentially buy and engage more with your brand. So keep that in mind, and there's exceptions to every rule. So you can find examples and case studies that are completely different. And I encourage people to have this small lead magnet, something easily consumable. One-pagers are my favorite. Some kind of tool that's easily, you can see the value very easily, even if you don't necessarily use it. And classic example is my best lead magnet content upgrade is the keyword golden ratio calculator. It's a simple spreadsheet. It's worked really well for a long time. You can see the value even if you don't use it right away. And when you actually try to use it, it does save time. So it's really easy to get the value quickly. So that's the big mistake. People are working on their email lists when maybe they shouldn't spend time on it yet. And whenever I coach people that have purchased a site and maybe they have that ebook, maybe they're paying $20 a month at one of the email service providers, and they are stressing. It's just an open loop in their mind that they need to finish. And if they could just get rid of that opt-in, keep their homepage a little cleaner, don't put it in the sidebar. Nobody's like trying to get more emails for a subpar ebook. And then the fact is, if you don't have many people signing up and you only have that one email that you're sending out initially and you're not following up, you essentially have a dead list. You have a dead list out there. And if you decided to start sending emails on, say, a weekly basis, and it's been a year after someone signed up and they got the first email immediately and they didn't hear from you for a year, there's a good chance they're not going to remember signing up. They might mark you as spam, and they probably don't care about whatever it is you're sending. There's a strong chance. Again, there's exceptions to that rule, but if you could just imagine you signed up for an email list at some point, you never heard from the person, and then they start sending you an email every week. You don't remember, you might not be interested in the topic, so you're gonna unsubscribe, hopefully, but a lot of people will mark it as spam because they just don't remember signing up. So from here, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, actually, before we hop over there, shout out to Ezoic and their Site Speed Accelerator. It will help your site load faster. They do have a WordPress plugin that you can use, but I recommend that you use the DNS integration. So you can just change your settings at your registrar, and then you're able to have better caching. You can use their CDN. All this is easily, or it's set up very easily. I mangled that sentence there, but essentially you can click some boxes and it's by default, it'll work very well. They guarantee an 80 or higher for the Google Page Speed Insight score. There's a 7-day free trial if you use the link there in the description. And even if you don't happen to sign up, head over there, check out their stuff, and there must be a way to contact. I don't know if there's a chat thing in there. I haven't looked in a while, to be honest with you, but just let them know that you appreciate the sponsorship so I can do these live streams. So thanks to Ezoic. And that was one of the rougher reads that I've had. So I'm not sure. I mean, I pitch them every week, so I should be pretty good at it by this point. All right, let's move over here and look at some of the opt-ins from some of the folks that I basically learned from. So I think I set this up well before, and boom. Okay. So here's one of the folks, and feel free to ask questions since we have a light crew today. People, number one, I guess they don't care about email list building as much, but also who knows the notifications that go out. YouTube, what are we going to do? All right, so this used to be Video Fruit, but they changed their name to Growth Tools. And this is Brian Ferriss over here, and I listened to a bunch of his guest spots and interviews over the years. He had a very interesting trajectory. Great marketer, and I followed along with him for a little while. It was very interesting too, because I ended up, I feel like he was starting right around the same time as I was in 2014-ish is when he came on the radar. But he did a great job because I think he took courses from pretty famous people, and then he ended up being the testimonial and success story for a few of them. And I'm not sure if he had like some pretty strong introductions to other folks, but he was on Smart Passive Income. He was on Nick Loper's podcast, Side Hustle Nation, and several other spots, and really kind of made a splash quickly and immediately launched a course on email list building. All right. So full circle here. He was taking courses and being a guest out there talking about email list building. So he was a guest and he was able to build his list through that. And then he sold a course on email list building. And now here I'm talking about it right now, 7 years later, which is kind of ridiculous. So anyway, his is pretty clear, and you get we'll just read it. Okay. So this is great copy. I want to give you my proven system for scaling your course or coaching to 6-figure months and beyond. Get your free 15-minute training, exclusive access to my brand new training on how to attract hundreds of your best fit customers every month without buying ads, creating content, or building your own audience from scratch. You just enter your email and you get that access. All right, what's going on? Couple of new folks in the chat, and the person with all exclamations, I'm not sure if that's a legit person or a troll, so we're keeping a close eye on that. And a couple cool things here. So he's offering a 15-minute training. So to Matt over at MoneyLab there, who asked about, hey, what about a 20-minute video? I mean, that's right in the ballpark of this 15-minute training, and it could potentially work. So it just depends on maybe where the people are coming from, the brand overall, and 15, 20 minutes, that's in the same ballpark there. What's up, Embracing Nirvana? Good to have you on. Must be late there. So a couple of the cool things here with the copywriting. So basically, it's a proven system to do X. So I want to give you X, and here's what you're going to be able to do. The subheading here, it says it's exclusive, brand new training to get the best fit customers. And then he's answering your objection, because a lot of times our common knowledge might be, well, we're going to have to buy Facebook ads. Maybe we're going to have to create content. Maybe we're going to have to build your own audience from scratch. But he's saying you don't have to do any of that stuff, which makes me wonder, what is he doing? How can you possibly do that? I don't understand. I don't know what he's doing. And I've read a lot of his content. So he's getting someone into his list that potentially wants to buy something. So this is leading us into some of the pros for having an email list. So I don't know the specific offering that Brian has right now. So I'm not 100% sure what he's selling. I know he had courses at one point and then kind of retired those. And then he was kind of doing like just really high-end coaching. I think I hopped on for a consultation a few years back, and it was something, it was insane. It was like $30,000 to work with him. I was like, I'm out. This is bananas. What are we doing here? So it was kind of high pressure sales. So I got on the call with one of his consultants. They talk you through like what they could do. And basically they're trying to get your credit card before you get off the phone. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not giving you my credit card over the phone. I need to think about this. And they don't want you to not commit. So it was like buying a car. It was kind of stupid. And then at that point I thought, well, I'm definitely not going to buy these courses. Okay. Derek, what's happening? Good to see you. Let's hop back. But you know what? I don't know what they're offering now. They're at Growth Tools, and I don't know. They seem fine, but that was the experience I had, and I was like, hey, I'm out. They're opt-in. Great. Looks wonderful. And I don't think we need to dive too much more into the page, but here's a couple other cool things. So these are testimonials to add credibility and social proof. And then they just have another opt-in down here. So one key thing to note, this is a landing page. I can't navigate anywhere else up here. There's no navigation menu or anything like that. I can enter my email. When I get down here, I can click this button and it'll probably pop up another little pop-up here. Oh, it just sends me back to the top. Okay. And then you can get to the blog. So I have to go all the way down here. It's a very small font. You can't even see it down there. So it's at the very, very bottom here. So this is a good landing page because it doesn't give you options. So you have to either enter your email or like get all the way down to the bottom to the fine print. Let's go over to Smart Passive Income since we talked about that. So we have this big notification, which I hate those. So one thing with Smart Passive Income is there's so much going on at this point. They have to give you all these options, which is kind of confusing. So if I just ignore and most of the stuff and take the least resistance path, I guess, we'll click on Get Started. Before I hit that, I see Jim Rat here says, are there negatives to asking for a name and email versus just the email? So this is totally up to you. So I'm going to pop back here. It's totally up to you. Basically, you'll get more people to sign up if you don't ask for the name. Just across the board, that is what's going to happen. More people are going to sign up if you don't ask for the name. If you ask for the name, it allows you to personalize the emails and just say hi or whatever your salutation is, and then the person's name. So I ask for the name because it creates a little bit more resistance, and I would rather have people that want to sign up and have to enter their name and be on my email list because I really want to be there versus, a pop-up or just the easiest way for people to sign up. So I intentionally make it a little bit harder to sign up for the email list by asking for the name. What do you do, Matt, at MoneyLab there? Just curious, and we'll hop back, share the screen. So if we click Get Started here, it will send us over to educational stuff. And if we scroll down, I'm just looking for the first sort of opportunity to opt in. And it may be, maybe I have to go down here, and they have what's called the right message here. And maybe I have to engage with that. So I'm scrolling down. Okay, so want the inside scoop. So here's sort of the opt-in. Join the community. Our email is full of value, void of hype, tailored to your interests wherever possible, never pushy, and always free. So there's no actual opt-in from what I can see here. There's no, or not opt-in, there's no actual lead magnet. There's no extra value that I can see. It's just join the community. And if I'm a weird person, I've said it a few times, I don't like communities. I hate communities. It's like they're usually in Facebook or some other thing, and there's a feed that distracts me from shit I need to do. So I don't like communities. So if I click subscribe now, we'll see that they ask for the first name and your email address. So we see, let's figure out what works for you plus free stuff. So now they're offering the opt-in, but they have buried it in here, which I wonder if they're split testing it because some reason, I don't know. We'll send you our download, 3 mindset hacks successful entrepreneurs use as a thank you. And then it gives you 3 reasons to sign up. You get free stuff. They have ebooks a smart way, content tailored to your interest, and no hype. So they do have a couple things that they're offering, but they don't mention it up front, which is interesting. And I think part of it, and part of the reason why maybe looking at these are not going to give us, it's not going to give us the best options, because these brands are so big. It would be like if I tried to copy the way Joe Rogan does podcast. He's too big. Whatever he's doing is not going to work for most people because he is, so many years in, his audience is so much bigger, and that sort of thing. So in this case, if you just went here and you looked at Pat Flynn's site and you thought to yourself, I'm going to do exactly what he's done here, which, like a fool, I have actually done that, a few years back. I've literally done that, right? I've literally gone to Pat Flynn's site, kind of look at how he organized things, and I thought, well, I should try to do it that way because I look up to Pat and I think he's doing a good job. He's best in class, and I want to follow along in his footsteps. And then sometime later I realized, well, shit, I'm not Pat Flynn. He doesn't even cuss. And here I am cussing. So it's a different brand. His podcast has been downloaded like many millions of times, and people just don't know who I am. So with that said, it's interesting the approach that he has here to bury the actual like lead magnets in here. Now that said, I'm pretty sure, I suspect if you dove into a specific area, let's go to affiliate marketing, there may be a content upgrade associated with a specific piece of content, and that makes more sense. You actually get more opt-ins that way. And I'm not sure, oh man, it's hard to get into the meat here. And it must be really tough to have so much good content on his site and then try to figure out where to send people. So I'm just going to check to see if there's actually like a little content upgrade or anything specific. It doesn't appear like it, at least not up front. Okay, so here's one. And I'll zoom in just a little bit here. So how will you connect with others and grow your business? And it's building your own brand. So this is a free 5-day course and challenge to help you build a brand and product that you can be proud of. So this also sort of flies in the face of what I was talking about before. This is a 5-day challenge, which is free, but people sign up for it, obviously, and it's part of the funnel for what Pat's selling, right? So this, I assume you sign up, you create a login, you get some of the course material, it's free, and then you get some emails, you're on his email list at that point, and you get emails that take you through the course, but then they probably try to sell you on one of his bigger courses that cost money. So that's how the funnel works. And again, this is one of the great reasons to have an email list. And for a niche site, it can work exactly the same way. So you get people on your email list, and then you can take them through a process. It doesn't have to be like a course or anything like that. And I was chatting with someone earlier today, new interview coming out in a few weeks here. Basically, people sign up for the list. He sends them information to other blog posts. Maybe it's just an email with good, valuable information. And every 4th email, he pitches something. A lot of times it's a specific product. And I think I think he mentioned, it doesn't really matter, but say it was, an outdoor website or some sort of hiking or something like that. If you know that someone's interested in the outdoor space, you may be able to offer like a backpack or maybe some trekking poles. I'm trying to think of gear that I have, snowshoes, whatever. So you can make a pitch for a specific product in some of the emails along the way. So every fourth email is a sales email. In the other 3 emails, you can kind of guide them through a process where you're saying, hey, I would love to get out, but it's so snowy around here that I can't really hike. I actually need, additional gear, and snowshoes solve that problem. So that's how you could pitch specific products related to your niche within the emails. You can do it in the email. If you're working with Amazon, you can't put an Amazon affiliate link in your email. That's against the operating agreement. But you can send them to a blog post, and within that blog post, you can have your affiliate link. So that's the general idea. Email lists work really well with the higher ticket items because you can take someone through the process we just described. So you potentially could sell a course, right? There are courses on nearly any topic, and when I was doing some research in the outdoor space, I found a website. I think there were a lot of different platforms out there, and I think they had like 50 courses related to outdoor stuff. So maybe solo backpacking, camping. I'm trying to think of some other examples. Maybe it's backpacking and fishing, or your first week-long solo trip through hiking some of these big trails, the Pacific Coast Trail, or what have you. So there are courses on almost anything. Often those are going to pay a much higher affiliate commission, so you can invest a little more time in crafting those emails, for example. Maybe they give you some email copy to give you a start. Obviously, put it in your own words. It'll sound a little bit better and more authentic to your brand. And then say it's a $300 course, you may get 25 to 50% commission on that. So you don't have to sell that many, versus if you're looking at products, especially on Amazon, you may have to sell hundreds of products to get close to the same amount of money. Most likely you will have to sell hundreds of products, and it's okay if you're not converting as high of a rate just because you get paid so much more. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, and we do have, I think I've goofed up my stream here and some of my overlays, but quick shout out to Niche Website Builders and their content service, as well as link building, which they just opened back up their link building service. I have a budget level Shotgun Skyscraper campaign running. I can't remember. I want to say I have something like 80 links that they have delivered. They have done an excellent job, and they're sending out so many emails. And again, I'm on the budget level, and they've been working with me for a while. If you sign up for any of their link building packages using my coupon code, you can follow the link in the description here. You can save 10%. If you get a content package, you get no discount, but an additional 10% of content. So a little extra, and they sponsor this Q&A segment. So as before, even if you don't end up signing up or you're not in the market right this minute, you can head over, follow that link, hop on their chat, and just say, I appreciate you sponsoring Doug, because we get to watch these live streams here. So Rylan says, thanks for your patience. I know it was asked a few minutes ago. So do you outsource any parts of the email workflow, building a list, sending content, handling responses? And if so, which parts have been most beneficial? Actually, no, I haven't outsourced any of those pieces, but it's because I enjoy doing that work quite a bit. So the list building part is fun for me because when you're working on the opt-in portion of it, it's very short. In fact, the shorter, the better. The more concise, the better. So I had longer explanations at some point and longer copy just in general. And the more you strip away, the better it goes, because it's just a clear way to tell someone what's in there. It makes you strip away all the noise and extra details there. So if you're able to find that enjoyable, it's pretty easy to tweak and it's short, so you don't have to write very much. As far as sending the content and writing it, sending it is not too bad. When you're writing it, I kind of look at it the same way. I enjoyed writing, and I'm talking about for my niche sites, for Niche Site Project, and any email list that I have created. I have enjoyed trying to write and understanding like what subject lines get opened when people click on the links that are in there. Are they following the links? Are they just opening the email and not taking any action? Which emails are making the best sales? And the more you do, the more data you get and the more information you have, which is super helpful. So I didn't outsource that part either. Now, as far as the responses, depending on the volume of email replies that you get, you may need some help, but most likely you won't. Unless you're actively asking people to reply back, you probably won't need help with that. So I don't get many replies unless I specifically ask for it. And for Niche Site Project, for example, even if I ask for replies, it's hard enough to get someone to take action to click the link. Replying back to an email is even more difficult. So you will maybe if you have a huge list, you would need to, but most of the time, no. As far as what would be most beneficial to outsource, writing the emails would probably be the most beneficial. And there are services out there, if you hunt around or if you went to Upwork and to hire a copywriter, you potentially could say, hey, I want a 10-part autoresponder series. You may have to give them more direction. If they're skilled at it and they know what they're doing and they've done it before, they could potentially guide you and say, okay, what pieces of content do you want us to link to? What pitches do you want us to make in certain emails? And they can just write it from there. They might need a little input as far as the URLs, the products to link to, your affiliate links, all those details, but they should be able to write it, especially if they see your website and understand what the topics are and the writing style. If they don't know anything and they're just a copywriter, you may have to guide them, and literally what I just mentioned would probably be a good start. A few pitches here and there. You could do a pitch every 4th email, every 10th email, whatever you feel is most appropriate, but I would say every 4th email is probably about right. So depends on the industry and what you have to offer. You don't want to wear someone out and keep doing the same pitch, so you would need to have other products and keep it interesting. Next, we have Gymrat. Landing page opt-ins usually go to a thank you page and a one-time offer. What do you do with in-content opt-ins or pop-ups, as you don't want to take them away from your content? So it depends on the industry that you're in. So it's totally up to you if you're going to have a one-time offer. A thank you page is pretty standard. So if you're not on my email list, you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email. You can see how short the copy is there. And then it does go to a thank you page. The thank you page tells you, what's coming up next. So as far as what to do, so you don't want to take them away from the content, at that point, they're engaging with you further. So they wanted to get a thing, and basically the way I handle it is I have a new tab open so that whatever they're reading doesn't go away. technically, if they really want to get back to it, they can just click the back button or, retrace their steps and go back to where they were. So it's totally up to you, but the fact that they're signing up for your email list means that they're engaging further. And yes, you're right. You don't want to distract them too much. The worst thing would be if you were distracting them from like making a purchase or taking some other action. But the assumption is they're connecting with your brand even more. They're signing up for your email list. They want to know more. So at that point, you'll be able to, get them back onto your content at some point. Or worst case scenario, they have to retrace their steps. Now, as far as the one-time offer, that's the OTO for the people that haven't seen that term before. Sometimes people, and I've tried this before, but it didn't really fit my style or brand, and I didn't find it to be too effective. But what people do sometimes is on the thank you page, they may say, thanks, you need to confirm your email, look for an email from me. Here's what to do next. You're going to get an email and it has this information. And by the way, I have this course or I have this product that I want to sell to you. Typically, the one-time offer is kind of a lower cost item, say under $50. A lot of times it's under $20. If they make that purchase, they potentially would buy something else. So this is one of the more complicated funnels, and you potentially would see case studies on this for, wildly successful offers. But in general, those are not typical. Those are more difficult to work out. The magic behind these, and the thing that's kind of cool, is let's say I run Facebook ads and it costs, say, $5 for me to get someone to sign up for my email list. Meaning maybe it cost $1 for a lead to land on the opt-in page, and every fifth person signs up. Okay, so $5 to get an email address. And let's say we'll make the math easy here. We'll say hopefully the math is easy. It gets complicated fast here. Essentially what could happen is if let me think about this. Every fourth person bought a product for $20, right? So five people will sign up. I think I'm screwing up the math here, so it's pretty straightforward if you write it out, but I'm trying to think in my head here. Essentially what can happen is not everyone is going to buy your product that signs up for the email list, and not everyone that lands on the landing page is going to sign up for your email list. So some fraction of the people come through. If you charge, say, $20 for that one-time offer, you essentially pay for all of the ad money and ad spend that you had with that one sale. So that's sort of the magic. You build an email list and you're able to pay for all your ad spend through a few sales, a fraction of the number of people that come through, and then you're able to market to them further in the future. To make that work out, you have to have a pretty good understanding of your funnel and how much each subscriber is worth. So technically, it's just a math problem to solve. The hard part is it costs money and or time to get the data, so you know how much each subscriber spends over some lifetime period. So if you know that over the course of 6 months, each subscriber is worth $30, you literally can spend $30 for each email subscriber and you still break even. If you can get it for cheaper than that, then you make money. So that's how these sort of funnels work. Simple in concept, and if you explain it out, people can follow along. It's fairly difficult to do that otherwise. Well, everyone would do it. So I think I answered that question in a very long way and described funnels quite a bit. All right, moving on, I think we could hop back to some of the pages that I wanted to look at here. And if there's any other questions, let us know in the chat. So we're going to go to the sharing Chrome, and we're going to hop over here and then share the screen. So I believe this is the sort of opt-in stuff back on Pat Flynn's page. So he has a pretty soft ask, and overall there's no pop-ups or anything. Let's just see. Let's see what it says. Do you have your own business? Let's check out the thing at the bottom here and how he's using that. And generally what's going to happen here is he's trying to segment the whole thing here, right? He's trying to segment what you're interested in, so he sends you the right email. So do you have your own business? I'll say yes. Learn ethical affiliate marketing. So you can go to ethical affiliate marketing collection. So that's just assuming, that's where I want to go. And I believe that's actually where I landed initially. Kind of funny. All right, let's check out one of these other pages. Another favorite, Tim Ferriss. So we got tim.blog. And we have a pop-up that hits right away. So check out the 17 questions that changed my life. Unlock the ebook. So I can click the button or click no thanks. So I'll click unlock the ebook. There's nothing else that's added here. And to the questions that were asked earlier, no name is asked for. He just wants your email address. And I think he has obviously a big podcast and a lot of fans out there, but I think his email list is in the millions is what he says. So you enter the email address, and then you have to click this little button, which is sort of like the extra confirmation. So technically, most of the time, any kind of extra action, whether it's a name or taking the action to click the checkbox here, it's going to make the number of opt-ins go down, but the people that are on there actually want to be on there. So you end up having probably a higher open rate, just people are more interested. And if I click away, I'm just curious if there's other opt-ins on the page. So there's this right here, right? So there's this whole section. 1.5 million subscribers, and you get those emails, which I don't know if folks are signed up. They're fairly long emails, but when he talks about it on the podcast, he often says, yeah, it's just a 5-bullet Friday, and there's just 5 things and my thoughts on blah blah blah. It's like 2,000 words. It's pretty long, in my opinion. It's a pretty long email, and there's links all over the place. So I'm not 100% sure the click rate or what's going on, but he rarely sells hard. He'll often talk about specific products, and his sponsors are listed in there. So, and nothing super interesting. This is kind of a generic opt-in, but again, this is a scenario where Tim Ferriss is so big. So if you tried to put this on your site and say, join hundreds of other subscribers and get tools and tips and resources, people are like, it's not solving a specific problem. Not a specific problem at all. So we have another question here. The pro says, is there a way to trade email lists? So not really. The best thing that you potentially could do is just be friends with another person that has a similar audience and then cross promote each other. So good example, Matt hopped on the live stream here from MoneyLab. He has a YouTube channel, he has a blog, he has a podcast as well. He and I are friends. We've linked to each other's material. We've made our audiences aware that we exist. And, we haven't flat out encouraged people to, hey, go follow and sign up for this person's email list. The thing is, and the follow-up question is, or pay for a list. You can run ads and technically pay for it, but here's the thing. You can buy a list, but it's a complete waste of money because no one signed up for it. So there's spam laws, and if you just bought an email list, everyone would just mark your email as spam. And then you potentially, number one, would get kicked off your email service provider. And number two, no one would get your email because Google and all the email clients would see it's marked as spam, and they would just not deliver your stuff anymore. I got a cough. So overall, you can't trade. You can kind of cross promote with other people. All right. Got a tickle in my throat here. Derek asks, are you using email marketing on any of your niche sites or just digital products? If yes, would I recommend to start building a list for our niche sites? So it depends. So it depends on your niche and the products that you're trying to sell and what you want to do with your business. Also, oh man, I wish I had a clip to play here because I got a cough again. All right, hold on. Okay. So I have built huge lists for, say, over 10,000 for some niche sites that are, I would say they're not obscure niches, but they were sites with a modest amount of traffic, but they had great opt-in opportunities because of the material that was ranking, because of the content that was ranking. It lended itself to content upgrades, lead magnets, tools, and cheat sheets. With that said, there were many products available in the niches that I'm talking about. From, say, ClickBank, there were courses, there's software products that are out there that people want to buy. So a great example, let's say you have kind of a vlogging and or camera related site. There's courses on photography, and there are software products, whether it's like Adobe and a suite of products or specific products for photo editing or video editing. You could have great opt-ins to get people into that funnel, and you know that people that opted in for the video editing cheat sheet would probably be interested in purchasing a video editing course. It matches perfectly, right? The intent matches perfectly. And it depends on the site and the amount of traffic that you have. I would say if it's something more technically oriented or something with courses or just higher priced products, you have a good chance of being able to send out emails and making, hundreds of dollars fairly quickly if you have nurtured the list and you have the right people on the list. And back to the pro and the question, hey, can I just buy a list or trade list? If you were to buy a list, it would be unqualified people. Most of the emails would be garbage, and it's just kind of a waste of time. And your second question, Derek, would I recommend that you start building a list for your niche sites? So at the opening, I did say one of the big mistakes is people trying to start a list too soon, maybe when they don't have enough traffic, maybe when they don't have enough content, maybe when they should be spending time writing more content or improving their content, and instead they're trying to mess around with lead magnets. They're trying to build maybe a bad content upgrade. They're trying to build a 4-part video series, and no one's going to see it. And it's going to take them a long time to create that. So if you have enough traffic and you have, a wide range of products, some products that are more expensive, then yes. One cool thing with an email list is you can drive traffic to new posts. So you publish something and you could send people there. Or let's say you have a Black Friday deals page, right? You got a Black Friday deals page. You could be pumping people up like, hey, I'm going to have all these great deals listed for a couple weeks ahead of time. So when Black Friday hits, or, on Thanksgiving Day, you could send out an email and say, hey, everything's updated. You knock yourself out. Here's all these links. Here's the great deals, blah, blah, blah. So it could really work out well. And then the other part is if you think you might be interested in, analyzing, like I was just looking through some of these other websites and I'm like, oh, why did they put that copy in there? Why is it listed like this? And the three that we looked at, I have to say, Brian Harris's growth tools website was the best copy that I saw. I mean, Tim Ferriss's is pretty weak. He's leaning on the fact that he has such a big podcast. And Pat Flynn, also big podcast, big following. So his reputation, I think, is getting people to sign up more than the copy here. So the whole point is, if you think you might be interested in copywriting, developing the skills of growing an email list, and then trying to market via an email list, that actually trumps almost everything, because as long as you're getting some traffic on your site, you should be able to test and see. And one of the great ways is go to your highest traffic page, see what the audience is looking for. I would keep that in mind, keep that sort of idea that people don't want more emails, they want a problem to be solved. And then from there, you can have a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun because the fact is, if you could build an email list for, basically any site, you could build an email list for another market. So I'm interested in personal finance and financial independence. So I'm pretty sure I could build an email list pretty well because of the skills I've developed over the past few years, understanding that people want tools, people want problem solved, they want cheat sheets, they want a one pager most of the time. And if I could deliver that in the personal finance, financial independence space, they would sign up for it. And then I can market other products, which potentially could be, high ticket, they could be courses, they could be other events, or just, you don't have to have the problem solved. So overall, Derek, the answer is yes. And the other thing is I'm selling this email course. So let's actually hop over to that. And there's a couple other questions that popped up, but I do want to go inside the course here and just show you what's going on. Enrollment is open till the end of the day today. So you have, I guess, less than 12 hours at this point to hop on. And I think I can share it from here. That is the wrong window, but I think we can do it. So here is the course. It is, as I mentioned, one of the quick hitter type courses. There are 5 lessons. You can go through it in a couple hours. There's, work to do. You'll have to work for several hours to get things in place. And I go through, why build a list, how to get people to join, email service providers and tools, what to send, talking about autoresponders and broadcast. And I am finishing up a couple of the last pieces here for monetizing with ads and offers, which is something that I've been doing more in the last year. So literally putting ads into your emails and getting paid for that. Additionally, you can pepper in those offers. I also have email templates and things to give you ideas. I recently moved over to Kajabi, where this is hosted. And in the process of migrating, it was a little scary. To be honest with you, it was kind of a lot scary. Part of the issue when you move email service providers, some of the technical things change. So it's kind of common for your emails to end up in the promo tab or not whitelisted. It's coming from a different email address. There's a number of issues that can occur. However, the cool part is when I reset everything, I also threw away some of my older emails and just kind of refined and distilled a lot of the copy down and did a better job. I'm better at it now. And my open rates were alarmingly high. So those are the types of emails that I put into the templates here, so I can say, hey, people are interested when you can tell them about a certain thing. And I make it generic, right? Because depending on what niche you're in, you're going to have to, write copy that makes sense for your niche using the vocabulary of the niche. So let's answer a few more questions before we finish up. And if you're interested in the course, would love to have you on board. Again, it's only open for another like 12 hours or so, maybe a little less than that. There's a link in the description, so you can check it out if you want to. And it is a less expensive course than some of my big offerings because it is concise and meant to be actionable. So a couple questions here. The pro says, I have a huge list from an old website. What's the best way not to get labeled as spam? Thanks so much. So number one, I haven't done that before, so I'm going to give you a brain dump and probably a decent approach to get started. Number one, contact your email service provider and ask them what they recommend. There's a chance they would tell you to segment your list into, say, 5 different parts. And then you can email the different segments and sort of see who's engaged. And that's what you would need to do. You can email the segment and say, I haven't emailed you in a while. This email list is about X. You opted in sometime in the past, and we're going to start sending more emails out. If you want to get more emails, click this button. And if you don't click the button, then I'll remove you from the list. You don't need to take any action. You can also rephrase it and say, hey, if you want to be taken off the list, click unsubscribe. It's right here. Let people opt in again, and then remove the people that are not interested. What you don't want is a list where you send out emails and 20% mark it as spam. You will potentially get kicked off your email service provider, and they don't provide you with any recourse. There's essentially nothing you could do. That happened to me once. It sucked. All right. Iqbal says, do you have a strategy, line suggestions, social media commenting, blog commenting, or other for starters in digital service niche to spread information about the offer to the landing page? I wouldn't do blog commenting. I would potentially do social media commenting, and really you should approach this with building relationships with people. So I wouldn't try to direct people to the landing page because it's going to get marked as spam or seem too salesy. So I would probably try to build relationships with the people that have the audiences, and then if you're super nice, you might be able to get them to share it or talk about it. And the pro finally says, I have 10 years experience in PPC and I want to go on my own. I have tons of emails on my old website, all people in the same niche. I just have 0 experience in emails. So potentially, I would go contact the email service provider because they want you to be successful with email marketing, and they can give you the best advice for their specific system. The worst thing is if you were to send out emails and then everything gets marked as spam, your deliverability suffers quite a bit, and then any email you send out is going to be seen by fewer people. That would be the worst. So I think that wraps it up for today. Kind of a tight crew. Appreciate the folks hopping on. Any other questions before we finish up? And thanks to our kind moderators, Adrian, David, always appreciate it. And good questions out there. Thanks, Derek, for hopping on. Jim Ryland, and some other folks here. Stephen, of course. Iqbal, and I think that is it for today. So looking forward to seeing you next week for the live stream. And speaking of emails, right, if you haven't signed up for my email list, you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email, and I'll send you all my systems and all my templates and all my stuff. I talk about all those things inside the course, so it's kind of meta, but would love to have you on there, and we'll catch you next week on the live stream.